Okay, so for epoxy putties, here's the ones that I've generally used in the past. Apoxie Sculpt is it's a two-part modeling compound that you can use. It's not as durable as the Keandatite or Green Stuff, but it's about as durable as the Milliput. Sometimes I've mixed these together and come up with fantastic results. I save this generally for when I'm making bits to go on the bases or when I'm trying to sculpt stuff onto a model, because it's a little more expensive. It is a little heavier, but you get a lot of it. So there's that. This is 227 grams in each jar, so it's a lot of stuff. You have Green Stuff that comes from all the major gaming companies. I just bought this from Gale Force 9 because it was two separate tubes here, and so they're not mixed. They're not joined in any way. Whereas the Keandatite rolls and sometimes Green Stuff rolls, it'll have a seam where the two pieces meet, and generally when that happens, sometimes it'll cure, and you'll have to cut that bit out. I just don't like dealing with it. It's good stuff. If you're going to buy Keandatite or Green Stuff, generally the rolls are more economical to buy as far as price per gram goes. But you know, it's really up to you and what you want to deal with. I don't use these for bases so much because, like I said, they're a little more expensive, although they are fantastic and you can use them in any way you want. What I do use is Milliput. It feels more like a sculpting clay than a, I guess, plastic kind of sculpting putty, which is what these feel like. This is kind of the Apoxie Sculpt is kind of an in-between between these two, but this definitely feels more elastic, more plasticky, and so it's easier to stretch out, flatten, and cut with like an X-Acto knife if you're going to make, you know, capes or chainmail or whatever you want for your models. The Milliput, on the other hand, is very, you can move it around and stuff, but it does tear if you pull at it. However, it is cheap. This is a $7.99. It's 113 grams, so it's more than you get in these two things here, but it's $8. Whereas I want to say that these were 10 to 13 each for the Green Stuff. And if you buy it at Hobby Lobby, they have a 40% off coupon that you can Google and scan at the register from your phone. So it's just more economical for me to use this and save this for the important projects like trying to sculpt stuff and things like that. So this comes in two different types. There's standard and fine. There might be more. I think there's different colors and whatnot, but I prefer the standard because it feels better when you're using it. The fine stuff doesn't handle the same. It's a lot more smoother. It's a lot messier, in my opinion. I think you use it for filling out pipes, like cracks in pipes and whatnot. Although Milliput's not entirely, it's not super strong, so I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I'm not a plumber. So this is an example of the white stuff, of the fine Milliput, and this is an example of the standard stuff that's right here. When they cure, they're about the same, but I've noticed that the white stuff is a little more flaky along the edges. It's hard to see in the camera. Let me turn the volume down a little bit, or the light down. It's got more of like that when you layer dough for stuff like baklava and whatnot. It's got these flaky layers. Whereas the green, the normal standard Milliput doesn't seem to have that as much. Whenever I have extras of Milliput or even this stuff here, I'll sculpt, or the Green Stuff, I'll sculpt little bits to put on bases like shields and weapons and creatures and whatnot. Or I'll just lay it flat with some Vaseline on some wax paper, and I'll roll a texture roller like this one from Green Stuff World. You can take rocks and mash rocks in there too to create texture. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter either way. It's just, a good way to not waste your leftovers. So that's it for putties, and we'll move on to the next bit here in a second.